This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Sit Back with Nahaja Black is sponsored by the Cancer Treatment Centers of America and BTC.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
Bahamas, and welcome to the Hit Back. I'm your host, Nahaja Black. It's a beautiful day here in the 242. What a day to come back to work after 2 weeks of vacation. I come back to work, y'all, and this is I just love my job. I won't lie to y'all. I have no complaints about my job. I have a great job, a great gig, because if you live in the Bahamas, there's never a shortage of news. I come back this week, and what is the discussion? Early elections. Last week, well, on the cruise, I heard if you were somewhere else and you'd missed that I was on the Crystal Serenity cruise, I got the information on the cruise ship, calls on the ship when there were barely any calls coming through, that there was some sort of big bruckout at the DNA in a DNA meeting. And so today we have Mr. Fane Thompson will be joining us. And then to rebut that at 5 o'clock will be the leader of the Democratic National Alliance herself, Madam Orinthia Kumalafe, and she hasn't said anything since these allegations came out, since the discussion of a big fight happening at their meeting. So I'm looking forward to that discussion as well. We've got Wayne Monroe, top of the show, QC, joining us to discuss what is all of this talk about early elections. If you've been somewhere else, you might have missed also that the leader of the opposition of the Progressive Liberal Party, Mr. Philip Brave Davis, announced last night that he foresees the calling and the ringing of the bell as early as tomorrow. And there has been speculations afoot. I am curious myself as to what will be the motivation of the government to do such a thing right now. What is their MO? What are they? Their chances are worse off in May of next year. I think their chances are better off if they just pump the brakes. Is this a long game conspiracy by the government really to get the opposition parties, all of these parties, to spend their money early? I was told today in Grand Bahama, parliamentary registration spots are loaded. Lines are curving around the building. People are anxious, wanting to make sure that they're registered. And there are concerns about the registry, this new permanent registry. We've got the Speaker of the House again doing rogueness, right? It feels he had to rebut a statement made by his peers on the Parliamentary Registry Commission. So that's a whole thing there as well. Oh, man, we ain't even start yet. This is not even the season yet. Like, we haven't done anything yet. The bell hasn't been rung yet. And we are already feeling this fever pitch. But in the midst of all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is something that is still happening just very much underneath. And that is COVID-19. COVID-19 is still going on. Along with the economic collapse, there are still people who are sick and dying from COVID-19. And we're going to talk politics, but there are people whose lives are on the line. And this is where politics and policies matter as well. So we're going to have Dr. Susan Williams-Lockhart joining us at the end, coming to the end of the show, last segment, to tell us what's going on the ground. I got to see a photo with Dr. Dwayne Sands, full PPEs. The man is dressed in full protective gear at the hospital, showing the severity of what's going on the ground. Are we doing enough? Are we talking enough? Are we saying enough? It's a lot of stuff to get to. So without further ado, let me welcome candidate, what do they call it? Political candidate for the wonderful constituency of Freetown. I guess I know I'm right. Also, the man always in the news because he's always doing some case that he's winning 8 times out of 10. Is it like the Negroes, Fred Smith? Or better, who knows? We got my good friend, Wayne Monroe. Wayne, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, Nahaja.
It's good to have you on. I see you're dressed in your PLP regalia, not PPE regalia, but
Uh,
PLP regalia.
yes, just came out of Freetown, on my way somewhere else that will remain nameless on your show.
Hmm. I
Uh,
know. I'm happy that you're here. So let's talk. We only have a few minutes. I know you're busy. So what is this all about? We have a early election. Your party is saying early election. What's going on here?
well, what we're basically saying is the Prime Minister is lying yet again. Remember, he said election was going to be next year. They lie a lot, so we expect that they're lying again. And the lie that they tell again was that elections would be next year. They came in saying you would have a fixed date for election. If you were to check, historically, governments usually run 5 years. And the only uncertainty is when exactly towards that 5 years the election would be. And largely they go down to the month, at the most 2 or 3 months early. But clearly, there's some reason that causes this government to think that things are going to get worse. And so they stand a better chance to go now. At one point, they said, oh, you wanted to catch the PLP unprepared. Well, only a fool couldn't see that we're prepared. Our candidates have all been chosen. We've all been in the field working. So it can't be that anyone is trying to catch us by surprise. It must be that they know under their watch it's going to get much, much worse if they were to wait. And that is what should concern Bahamian people.
Wayne Monroe, QC, joining us on the show, pretty much being an emissary for his party with regard to the statement that there is an early election. You started off really harsh. You say the government is lie, right? they lie. I mean, but come on. I mean,
that's undisputable. They say they would do a fixed date for election. Well, they've now said they're not going to do that.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm with you. I'm with you that they've been very much, they've flip flopped and been dishonest. So it is definitely one of those things where you can say that they've been very dishonest. But people get offended when you call them liars. Christian folks. But we digress. So I'm looking at it, Wayne, and I know you are a practical man, right? You're a practical man. I see no reason to call an election early for the Free National Movement at this point, right?
Well.
Is the Progressive Liberal Party even ready?
No, of course we're ready. We've been ready. We've been getting ready to get rid of this bad government. But why you should be concerned is this. We see something, and to harken back to something you said in your intro, we now have a worse case with regard COVID than we had last year when we were all locked in our homes. We're told the hospital, all 3 centers are full. We have a lot of people, 100 or more people getting infected a day. We have people dying. Remember now, the Minister of Health said they see no reason to continue the state of emergency. So come August 14th, everything falls. All of the emergency orders go. There's an emergency order that brings in the health visa that says that you have to have a negative test to enter here, that says you have to wear masks, that says you must sanitize. All of those go on the 14th. Now, does anybody seriously believe that they think the state of the pandemic will be such on the 14th of August that not having replaced emergency orders with ordinary legislation or regulation, as we suggested, that we're suddenly going to go from all of this to nothing? So unless they think we are stupid, we know that the emergency orders must continue. Because the whole purpose of them was to permit you to put in a statutory regime. We said that last year. They never put in a statutory regime. There's none in. The House is adjourned to September. So is it that what we will see when we come back will make last year look like a joke in the infringement of our fundamental rights, that they wouldn't possibly want to have to do that and then come to the people? That is the sort of thing that could get worse. Is it that the economic situation is going to get so worse that they ain't going to find anyone to lend them this money, that they need to borrow for the 5th year in a row?
I listen. I've heard some things, Wayne. I'm trying. I'm just going to. There's a lot of things speculating in the air with regard to why and why not, why they would. But I have to ask this: is there any hard, concrete evidence or information that has led to the leader of the opposition saying that there will be? I mean, he went as far as saying that tomorrow. His sources are saying that tomorrow that the prime minister will make that announcement. Have you been told? Are you aware of any hard, concrete evidence? I was speaking with some folks in New York at the embassy there. They hadn't gotten any ballots as of Sunday. I hadn't gotten them today. Maybe they've gotten it. That person just was unaware. But what are we?
They wouldn't get ballots.
Not ballots. I'm sorry. Not ballots. Not ballots. Jesus, I said ballots. That's a whole other show. That's next level. No, in terms of the parliamentary process and registration list for those abroad, right? I think that's what they would tend to get.
But they wouldn't get it at this stage in any event, because that's a process where you will have to apply if you wanted to vote in these places. The information is that they were put on notice for an election. The information is, and it comes in from all over. We're in the Bahamas. This is a small place, right? Mm-hmm. So if the police have to secure it, if people have to be given advance notice, you really believe that somebody isn't going to tell somebody?
I got you, my brother. I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. Having said that.
Having said that, this could be all one big hoax to try and get people to spend money.
And that's what I've been told. I was told that this is just one big elaborate push just to get the Progressive Liberal Party to spend their funds. And my thing is, at the same time, it's not just the Progressive Liberal Party. I know smaller groups, smaller parties that are ready and are set to get, they're starting to spend their small amount of money. And I think it would be very disappointing. And I don't know if it's wise to even, to even move forward on speculation. But I guess you got to do what you have to do in this situation. So it's very interesting. I don't know what to say. I'm glad I'm only watching as a bystander.
Well, that's a possibility too, because that's a form of lying as well. Mm-hmm. These fellas are just liars. That's the bottom line to it. So if you have sent messages to put embassies on notice, police on notice, defense force on notice, public servants on notice, and that's one big hoax, that means you have lied to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Now, you may try to dress it up, as Dame Jones says, in clean linen, right? Mm-hmm. I don't like to do that. I've heard enough of that from her for 30 years of practice with. She always told me, Mr. Monroe, no need to dress it up in clean linen. Say what it is. That's where I get this habit from that legal training. Well, lies are just that, lies. You say you believe that democracy is served by a fixed date of elections. You say that elections are due next year. If you have elections this year, you are one of the largest liars in the country, in front of everybody, and it's recorded. And for people not to call you a liar, for the press not to call you a liar and ask you, how could you be so, let's not use lie, how could you be so dishonest? Is the press not doing its job?
Well, the press has asked the prime minister. The prime minister said, listen, he has not made any note of a date yet. And all of the speculation is on us. It's on those who speculate. And you guys are just blowing hot air and getting people driving out the vote. By the way, that's a good thing. Grand Bahama is doing their business to vote. Wayne, I'm going to let you go. Someone says, but all of your parties lie. So I bet you bit your tongue on that one, Wayne.
No, the record is this. I would challenge anybody to show that. All the PLP has done in my lifetime from 53 years ago is to end apartheid, to bring independence, and to bring every institution in the modern Bahamas. From I was born in 1968.
But not lie. But not lie.
Now we may say, for instance, that we intend to do some things Of the last 30 years, the FNM has been in power for 20 of them. So when we set our goals and the people kick us out and the FNM then repeals what we have done, when we get back in, we have to start afresh. That's been the problem in the last 30 years.
The Bahamian people will say the Bahamian people will say the record is clear. The record is clear. And none was without sin. He who is without sin cast the first stone. Wayne, thank you so much, my brother. I'll be watching and looking forward, and then, we'll be staying in touch. I want to see how this goes. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time, my friend. All right. Wayne Monroe, y'all. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black. When we come back, Faye Thompson. This is another story. Of course, you've heard it. I've been on vacation, and so I want to hear it on my show as well. Faye Thompson will be joining us because now we're talking about some things that went down with the DNA. A few weeks back, like I said, about 2 weeks ago, I think it would be. And I was on my cruise, got a call, learned of this information. I got my good friend Faye Thompson will be joining us. And then 5 p.m., the DNA leader will be doing an exclusive. And just really, this is our first statement of the allegations of a big fight and the questioning of equality of leadership. She'll be joining us at 5 p.m. Faye Thompson will be joining us right after the break. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black. Listen, it's Monday, y'all, and I'm back to work. Look at God, won't he do it? We'll be back after this.
When I got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or BTCBahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Rejuvenate, refresh, treat yourself. Immerse yourself in total comfort. Pamper yourself. After all, you're worth it. Relax. Rid yourself of all life's stresses. At Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa, you will find everything you need to enhance your body and spirit. Call today at 323-6711 and begin your journey to serenity at Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. It's a beautiful Monday. It's good to be back. Everyone who's following online, don't forget you can follow us on YouTube, Facebook. Special thanks to Sammy Starr. You're going to hear the whole, we got a new song for the show now. So special thanks to Sammy Starr for producing a wonderful song, and you guys will hear the song at the 5 o'clock hour. I got to bring on my good friend now, Faye Thompson. Faye, welcome to The Hit Back, buddy.
Hi, how you doing, Nahaja? How you doing?
All is well. Listen, thank you so much for agreeing to join me on the show. I know that we are limited with time, and so I really wanted to get you on the show because a few weeks back we had a brief conversation, and you shared a bit about an incident that happened with yourself another individual at a DNA meeting. The reason why I think this is, of course, you've already been on other media vehicles and entities expressing this story, but I wanted to get it for my audience and also for me as well, where I'm not in vacation mode and I can actually, really listen and dissect this. What happened, Fane, at this meeting that happened some 2 weeks ago? Give me back that story. Let's go back in time. Tell us a bit about what happened.
I'm going to disappoint you a bit right now, Nahaja. I'm going to disappoint you because the matter is all but sub judice, and I think you know what that means. But I can say this. That the leadership of that party has some questions to answer. They're in the public domain. They have multiple questions to answer. They ought to answer those questions. They ought not to think that these questions are going to go away. And to the extent that I've been allowed by counsel and my training to be careful what I say at this stage, because it could very well have legal consequence, I'm going to be very circumspect. Let me say this though. Leadership in the Bahamas must come to terms with the fact that egos are not what politics is all about. Little fiefdoms is not what politics is all about. Nepotism is not what politics is all about. Harassing and haranguing people to prevent them from speaking is not what politics is all about. In my years of being active in politics at different levels, one particular organization in particular and another organization, the floor is always respected because it is at the floor level that conversation takes place, that the democratic process drives on. The question as to the specifics of what happened that day are in the public domain.
Okay, but if they're in the public domain, why can't you repeat them?
I will not repeat facts which I'm trying to be. Let me give you a practical example, Nahaja. Did you attend? That's in the public domain. Was there an event? That's in the public domain. At this particular time, those who are accountable must answer.
Answer to what? Okay, hold on. Time out, Finn. Time out. Again, I am disappointed because this isn't what we discussed in terms of what was going to be shared. I anticipated that you were at least being able to share exactly what, to your biggest, in essence, at least some substance of what happened. Because I
can share some substance, but I will tell you that with the skills that I've acquired and the obvious need to understand now what I'm doing, I want to be circumspect. First, the facts are in. I'm gonna stand on this. The facts are in the public domain. They have been aired. The question now is for the other people to decide if they embrace those facts or if they deny those facts. If they want to create facts or if they want to accept facts. I'm not going to go into the specifics of it because they are in the public domain. You know what, Nahaja? I spent some time on your station earlier today talking about an issue which is of paramount importance to the Bahamian people. But what also is important to the Bahamian people is that we respect our democracy. We do not become chiefs. It's simply because the mantle of leadership is given to us. We earn leadership. We do not become maximum leader unless we want to practice non-democratic tendencies. All of those facts in the public domain, if they come from my lips, it clearly has legal consequence. Nahaja, it may have legal consequence. So I have advised. So I'm advising myself, and counsel has advised me: be circumspect what you say.
Okay. So then, what are you saying? Because right now you haven't said anything in particular yet about the situation. No. So what is the circumspect?
An event took place. At which event, my constitutional and other rights were violated. And I will go so far as to say the question as to criminal activity took place. I don't wish to go any further because the specifics of it would be the subject of I'm pretty certain that it will be the subject of an action which we will all find out about very, very soon. Detailed in that particular action will itemize specifically what happened on the 6th of July, I think it was, 2021. I have never been in that type of situation before. Permit me, Nahaja. I know I may be letting you down to some extent. But you know how I think and you know how lawyers think. And you also know how people who want to maintain a certain position thing. I do not want it to be said that I did not turn up for your show to explain my position or our position or the position which is the truth, because that is in the public domain. It is now time for those responsible to step up and concede this issue, to throw to throw themselves at the feet of begging for forgiveness, to admit their responsibility and to move on and deal with this matter, because there are much more important issues in this particular matter, in this particular Bahamas going on than myself or Boykin Smith. And I mean that. I mean it genuinely.
Let me ask you some questions then, and you could say if you can answer these questions or not. Because I think for my audience is sitting probably at home saying, okay, well, what is this all about? And I mean, you know, I haven't gotten the sense of what this is about yet from you. But I know that you've been on other platforms and you've said what this was about. So I'm kind of disappointed that on mine now you're not saying what this is about. And I personally, that is kind of disappointing to me, because you've been on other media spaces and you shared the story, and now you're here and you're not sharing the story. So that is
no. I'm advised that a certain person is coming on after me. One thing you will find about lawyers is we don't talk first, we talk last.
Well, you already spoken first, man. What's the difference?
No. We didn't speak first. We responded. We responded to another media after that side spoke. Oh, no. We even gave the opportunity for those to do certain things. Those things were not done. So trust me, we did not speak first.
So do you have an issue with the leader of the DNA? Is the leader of the DNA disappointed you? Are you still a member of the DNA?
I am tremendously disappointed. I'll leave that right there.
Why?
Tremendously disappointed.
That's not a legal question. That's just an opinion. That's not something
I am tremendously disappointed that that July the 6th happened, 2021. I'm tremendously, in fact, I am painfully disappointed. I almost shed tears. That night and the next morning. I am tremendously disappointed. I'm hurtfully disappointed. That's how serious and that's how deep that is.
And disappointed because of what? Because of just that one incident, or what?
No, because of a manifest failure of leadership, a manifest failure of leadership, the development of a mentality which is frightening to our democracy, et cetera, and maybe also the fact that when you are invited to a place and you are invited for a specific purpose, you ought not to be the object of untoward behavior. I don't, you know what I want to say to your listening audience, because you have a big one and you have a very serious one. I want them to simply address themselves to social media. I'm going to suggest to them that which they find there, they will be able to make up their minds. I don't want to become the object of a to and fro between myself and someone else. If I do that, then it means that other things have to be taken into account. That is to say, my legal position. And I take my legal position in this instance very seriously. Very, very seriously. My life was threatened. And I take this very, 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 very seriously. And I take it, and when I say it was painfully something which I went through, I take it very seriously. When it gets to the point that persons are being used to issue their threats, senior members of the banking industry, senior members of other businesses to as it were, levy threats or lodge threats at some of us, that's the development of a type of politics that I was not trained in. I was trained in.
Were you physically assaulted at this meeting thing?
Again, I will not go into the details of it. It's in the public domain, and I would ask the public and make up their minds as regards whether or not I'm being difficult or being cryptic. Between the time of that last interview and now, I've taken legal advice, and I can say that. But I'm telling you, I was tremendously disappointed. And if I said any more, I may cry. I was terribly disappointed. And if you heard my voice, you must understand this is in the public domain, and unfortunately, unless the decision is made to stand down from a particular leadership, this unfortunately does not end. This does not end. This is very, very, very hurtful to me.
And it's in the courts now. You decided you're going to take legal action after what is in the public domain, an assault. In the public domain, you shared that there was a physical assault.
Multiple
assaults.
Multiple, yes. And I think you have information as regards other persons and other complaints.
Yes.
And that is all in the public domain. And
the young man, Mr. Boykin, I can't remember all of it, and forgive me. Boykin Smith. He was on the debate stage for the DNA. Many would recall it was the throwing of the mace, young Mr. Boykin. He was also, and he's alleged that his phone was smashed. He was assaulted as well. Also in the public domain that you both shared on another media station, my good friend Clint's show. And so now we're here. You're here now, and you've decided that you're going to take legal action. And I'm sure, as an attorney, you knew what the sub judice, what those matters were before you spoke then.
So to be fair, I'll be honest with you. There was a lacuna. There was a period of time within which there were certain expectations which ought to have occurred. They did not occur. Let me just tell you, I'm embarrassed to be in this position. I'm Nahaja, my sister. I'm embarrassed and humiliated to be in this position. I do not understand how you can repose so much faith in someone, and they, being as trained as highly as I know that they are trained, would allow such an event ever to take place anywhere in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Anywhere in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That is how I feel. Now, I've gone way beyond the extent to which I wanted to go, but I can say to your listeners, this is all in the public domain. I think that those who carry the burden of responsibility should be accountable and should account. Whether they account today or tomorrow, that they should account. But what they say is going to be absolutely essential. Because you see, they've already trotted out one version of events. Let's just see what version they're going to trot out this afternoon.
Thank you, my brother, Faye Thompson. Thank you. I appreciate you. And we'll see how this all plays out. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, yeah, I was disappointed. That was not what I was hoping, what's going to come out of that conversation. But we'll see how this all plays out. What I was told and what was shared with me was that there was a big fight. Big fight, right? Big fight. Phones get smashed. Faye Thompson was physically assaulted. These are the allegations that were presented. And now we're throwing questions back at the leader and mum's the word. I am curious. And so I'm looking forward to having the leader of the DNA join us on the other side of the show. I want to get your thoughts, though. If it's a matter inside of court, if it's a matter in court, but we need the DNA leader. She will be joining us at 5:00 to have this discussion. And here are the concerns, because for a party that is young, with no one in the House of Assembly, and this is still young, this is their third election. This term, in the past, it has been marred with their concerns or issues, pushback, pullback. We've seen members drop out. We've heard all kinds of things. Is it because she's a female that they push back? Is it because of her husband? Even that was alleged, that her husband is too involved, and that Madam Lida Kumalafe, is not, that her husband is leading or steering the ship. This is fascinating things to me. I'm happy. Someone says it was a setup, right? It was a setup. Someone says that Mr. Thompson is looking for attention. That they're beating up, they're beating up the candidates and members. There's a lot going on here. And I think that this is what happens as we get closer into it. And leadership is a serious thing. We're going to have tons of concerns here with this. I think, and someone from the party says it's all because she's a female leader. And that is what is going to be interesting. Is it because Madam Kumalafe is a leader that the party keeps getting into these sort of frictions, these rifts? Was there actual violence that ensued? Based on the statements of Mr. Boykin Smith and Faye Thompson, there was violence, right? There was violence. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's Monday, y'all. Child, please. I'll be back right after this.
When I got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. It's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC giving you
Unlimited talk for the best conversations. Unlimited data for all your online fun.
And unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Rejuvenate, refresh, treat yourself. Immerse yourself in total comfort. Pamper yourself. After all, you're worth it. Relax. Rid yourself of all life's stresses. At Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa, you will find everything you need to enhance your body and spirit. Call today at 323-6711 and begin your journey to serenity at Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black.
Back, you're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Was there a fight or was there not a fight? Was there a brawl or was there not a brawl? Violence ensued at the DNA meeting, y'all. Did it last 5 minutes or 5 seconds? Was it a thing? Was it not a thing? And so this is going to be interesting. I can't wait for the DNA leader to show up. Someone says she won't be slapping up. She will bring facts and competency. Of course, we know that Madam Kumalafe is a strong one, and she will come, I'm sure, very much. My disappointment. And I'll be straight with you. Fane has hosted my show. Fane has been a friend and colleague of mine. So when he called me, I knew right away that something did happen. I don't doubt that there was violence that ensued at this meeting. Fane there was violence. He was aggressively dealt with, and so I there's no part of that. Someone said cancel Fane. There's parts of it. Maybe that's what the concern is, right? There's always two sides, or they say three sides to a story: my side, your side, and the truth. Where does it land in the middle? I've had people wanting me to hear voice notes that I haven't heard yet, that we're not sharing, but it's going to come. It's very fascinating stuff. Sides of the story, right? My disappointment came that when they were all gung-ho to share, and in particular, my good friend Fane was ready to share the story. And, once Madam Kumalafe agreed to join, there was this hesitancy. And not agreed to join with them. Now, mind you, neither wants to speak with each other. So this is how you know this is vitriolic, right? That there is issues here. I don't like when you come on now, let's deal with this, handle your business. But all of a sudden now we're with that interview with my good friend Fane. I was very disappointed, not a little disappointed. I was very disappointed because I was expecting Fane to come out as aggressive as he has been privately. And but I will respect that he's claiming that there's some legal wisdom to it. So was there a fight or was there not a fight? And I think that there was. Someone says, I like Mrs. Kumalafe, but she is a wife and she has to submit to her husband. And her husband is a foreigner and he seems aggressive. So it's always, it's a very interesting thing, right? So someone says he attacked his own character. Election should be called next week. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all goes and plays out. I think that what is important is that we pay attention. This season is going to be interesting. And as we get closer to the time, as we get closer to the time of elections being called. And the question is, do you believe that it will be called early? Do you believe that it will be called early? I think that smaller parties like the DNA, and the DNA is truly the stronger of the third parties, but I was just told that the Kingdom Government Movement next week will be launching something, massive. That's Dr. Kevin King, those, right? So these smaller parties are getting ready to spend money. They're getting ready to spend money on, and it's election season. COVID is rampant. How are they even going to function? How are they going to move? How is the DNA moving? There's been a lot of pushback with the leadership of Ms. Kumalafe. Is it warranted? Is it not warranted? And I definitely think that that's something where even the issue of her husband, and you guys have heard me on this show before say, we have male leaders in parliament, right? They have male leaders in parliament whose wives are foreigners. So I don't see an issue with a female leader having a foreign spouse. Now, if you're of the mindset that a female always submits and so the man leads undercover behind the scenes, I don't believe that. We're in a new age and time. Yes, a woman respects her husband just as a husband respects his wife. So I don't think that you can't just, exclude someone, especially women. That's sexist to me. That's sexist to me. That you're going to say that because her husband is a foreigner, that totally, exonates her from leadership. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I mean, Brave Davis's wife, Philip Davis's wife is a foreigner. I mean, well, the speaker says his wife is an indigenous Bahamian. That's a whole other kettle of fish. Thank God for that. But this is where it gets interesting. This is where we are going to figure out, and I will ask Madam Kumalafe, why does she believe that she's getting this pushback? What actually happened? What actually happened? Someone says, I believe she smashed the man phone and they shoved those men down. I was told that there were two gentlemen who are now bodyguards to Ms. Kumalafe. I guess after the lockup, you got to get bodyguards. After the jail time, you need your bodyguards now. And the picture I was painted was Jussie Smollett, the dude from Power. It was not Empire. I felt like those were two Nigerian dudes, the two husky fellas. They would share to be very big and masculine. And they put the smack down on Fane's candied yam. That's what I was told. That Fane, my good friend got manhandled a smidgen. And he's emotional about it, very disappointed by it. Mr. Boykin Smith's phone got smashed. And this is an assault if these allegations are true. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out in court. But Madam Kumalafe has not yet addressed this matter. As election looms, are these stories going to affect her leadership, her chances? Are they creating a picture or a narrative that she is difficult? Are these narratives sticking? Will they stick? As much as she has shown herself to be out there in public and to be very articulate and sociable, is what Mr. Thompson, Fane Thompson, intimating by, nepotism and cronyism, those should not be a part of good leadership? He's saying that with regards to Ms. Kumalafe. So are those narratives going to stick? And as not the only female leader, because we also have the first female leader of a political party, Ali McIntosh. Will those narratives, are any narratives sticking to her? Or is it because people don't see the party BCP as a strong party? Now, there were even stories of BCP merging with the DNA. I was on vacation, so I didn't confirm that. Anyone in the DNA land can confirm that. I didn't see any news of that. So we'll see how that plays out. But, I mean, look, I think this is fascinating stuff. And it will be detrimental. I think all of this is detrimental to her leadership of not her leadership, but to the party, not her leadership, but the party. And will these narratives stick? And that's where the fear comes in, right? Someone says, who is Fane Thompson? Nahaja, please stop. He was a party of party. What you mean, please stop? He was a party of party. Fane Thompson had a show on I know how many radio stations, whatever. So don't say please stop. He was a party of party until he started, until things went south. Someone says the DNA sounds like gangsters. I'm honestly afraid. The DNA comes out hard, y'all. The DNA comes out hard and rough and strong. So it'll be a very interesting thing when we watch all of that. So I think that that's what's going to be interesting. If we have it now where elections are called, what are the DNA's chances in this? If elections are called, what are the F&M's chances in this? What are we looking at with all of this hoopla? What is the PLP's chances if elections are called? And that's where I'm curious. What happens if elections are called in this upcoming season? And I got so much things going on in front of me, so I want to get some of your comments. Someone says, I don't think it's detrimental. Wait for the real facts to drop, Miss Black. Good. That's what I'm hoping for, the real facts to drop. Someone says, did you see Lincoln's original Facebook video that originally put all of this in a public domain? No, I didn't. I tell you, I was on vacation, man. I'm trying to catch up. So I didn't get to see it. Someone says, listen to Lincoln's show. Helvin, help us all. Someone says, Deshaun says, no one is making sense right now, Nahaja. Not one party. Charlie, with you. Right now, I don't even know. I feel like we're back here again. Every 5 years trying to figure out who to vote for, right? Someone says we wait for the real story, right? Someone says glad the operatives in the DNA are gone. Listen, I am so happy. This is the season we're in. This is back in when you had the PLP, when they were running. Someone says, where's CA and Yuri today? CA is on a little hiatus with me today. Someone says, pure comedy, we had nothing to do with their assault, yet our names are being called. So we are going to find this to be very interesting. It says that there was evidence there. Someone says Faye needs to sit on the side until Madam Leader is finished talking. Right now, he's saying nothing and eating up our precious time. It's going to be fascinating. I tell you all now, this is where it's interesting to me. And I think that the question of quality leadership is big. And that's what we're going to find out more of. The question of quality leadership. The DNA, will it survive? Will the DNA even get seats? I'm very concerned, though. I'm very concerned that this narrative of Madam Kumalafe, and this is the truth. The truth is that the narrative that is being created, painted, is that she is, that her leadership style is difficult. But I think it's fascinating who says these things. So I'm just sitting back and I'm watching. There seems to be evidence to the contrary to what has been shared by others. Some people saying that Mr. Boykin Smith has to come clean. So this is where listen, we're too old for all of this. The truth is, people are dying. I really, the energy that it takes for this, but I want Madam Kumalafe to share his piece, and I'm happy that she's doing it because people need to know we can deal with this and move forward, and people will make their decisions and their thinking on this as soon as possible, right? So we can come to a conclusion on this saga, but apparently it's in court. So this is something that will always loom. It's fascinating stuff. So when we look now at what is laying in front of us, y'all. When we look at what's laying in front of us, you have, in terms of party leadership, you have Dr. Minnis. I believe that Dr. Minnis truly wants us to forget 4 years of leadership, 4 years of questionable decision-making, and remember just the 1, 2, or 3 things that really stood out in what I believe stood out in his term. And maybe 2, 3 might be much, but I'll give him 2. And then you have the Progressive Liberal Party that I think with Mr. Davis still needs some oomph. I feel like when, this reminds me, the Progressive Liberal Party reminds me, ladies and gentlemen, of the Free National Movement with Mr. Minnis, Dr. Minnis. Dr. Minnis needed some superstars, some extra strong people with different money to come into the party to give him that lift. Well, the Progressive Liberal Party, I think they're floating through this process because of the way I believe a lot of people feel about the Free National Movement at this point. There was a wonderful, read the perspective. What's her name? Miss Turner. Read the perspective in the National Guardian today. Great articles by Sharon Turner. I think that's her last name. Why am I forgetting? Excellent articles on the ballots and voting, and are we satisfied with the way this is turning out? I think there's a lot of concern about what is laying before us. And now you have this narrative with a big infighting in the DNA. I mean, literal fight, literal throw-in blows. Fian says, feelings he's hurt. It's tough times ahead. We're going to take a break. When we come back, leader of the Democratic National Alliance, Madam Kumalafe, Arinthia Kumalafe, will be joining us. I'm looking forward to this. I think we can now move away from this conversation after someone says that she gives the facts, not conjecture, not emotion, but the facts. But, you know, I mean, police reports have been filed or civil suits have been dealt with. Legal action is gone. And we'll determine based on, because Fain didn't say much on the show here, to know what really went down. But I told you I know what happened based on what he said. Anyways, someone said he's embarrassed, not hurt. He's embarrassed, not hurt. Kevin, what are you talking about? How do you know what? And I wasn't there. So we'll be back after this. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. Boy, these DNAs, they hot to trot. Hot to trot. We'll be back after this.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Good afternoon, everyone. You're listening to the Guardian News Network. I'm Taylor Ferguson. Here's what's making news. Thank you so much for tuning in. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Dr. Hubert Minnis responding to what he calls false claims and fear-mongering by opposition leader Philip Davis on government's tax plans. In a statement today, the Prime Minister says he is not planning to raise taxes immediately following any prospective election, and asking that the opposition refrains from making up nonsense to deflect from the fact that the economy of the Bahamas is on its way back to full recovery under the stewardship of the Free National Movement government. A man was attacked and robbed as he was preparing to make a bank deposit in the Harbour Bay Shopping Centre today. Police say the attacker got away in a small vehicle. That daytime robbery caught on video and has since gone viral.
And I want to warn these would-be criminals that the members of the public are tired of you. They are taking the courageous step and reporting you, who are brandishing your firearms and who are going about conducting these heinous acts. You're going to be caught. It's simply a matter of time.
Police did not say how much money was stolen. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis says he's the only one that will decide when the House of Assembly is dissolved and when the next general election will be called, not opposition leader Philip Davis.
Mr. Prime Minister makes those decisions, not him.
And nothing coming this week then? No dissolving of Parliament this week?
The Prime Minister speaks, not the Leader of the Opposition. The Leader of the Opposition said there'll be dissolution. The Prime Minister did not say that.
A long line of people waiting outside the Parliamentary Registration Department today amid widespread speculation Parliament would be dissolved as early as this week. As new COVID-19 cases hit triple digits for the first time since October, and health officials reporting 100 new infections, the Prime Minister says if you're vaccinated, there's no more pandemic.
And the one thing the beaming populace understand, we're in two pandemics. The vaccinated individuals are now out of the pandemic. The pandemic is finished for the vaccinated individual. The non-vaccinated individuals are still in the pandemic. And therefore, it's essential for us to aggressively, of which we're doing, to aggressively pursue vaccines so that we can vaccinate our populace as quickly and efficiently as possible.
That's what's making news. I'm Taylor Ferguson. AP News is coming up next.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
coronavirus update. I'm Tim McGuire with an AP News Minute. Fully vaccinated visitors from the U.S. can enter Canada beginning August 9th. Canada Health Minister Patty Hajdu.
Travelers will have to be fully vaccinated with the Health Canada authorized vaccine at least 14 days before entering the country.
The U.S. Travel Association estimates that each month the border is closed costs $1.5 billion. Canadian officials say Canada had about 22 million foreign visitors in 2019, about 15 million of them from the U.S. Stocks slid today. Owenda senior stock market analyst Edward Montoya says the pandemic had an impact.
There is this fear that the Delta variant and other variants are posing a greater risk to the global economic recovery.
The Dow off at one time by more than 800 points, fell 725. The Nasdaq lost 132, and the S&P was off 68. I'm Tim McGuire.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We got joining us, I think I see the wonderful leader of the Democratic National Alliance, Madam Orinthia Kumalafe. And I want to bring her in and see if I can get her audio. There you are. How are you?
Hello. Fine. How are you doing?
I'm well. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, you seem to be enjoying the story.
Man, listen,
I've been tuning in. I've been tuning in my car. I just got from a meeting, and it
I
sounds
heard
like you.
this story on the cruise, man, and
Which
laughed.
iteration? Which iteration? Because it's been like 5 or 6 versions now. So which iteration? You
Mind
should
you, I only-
tell us the original one you heard from your good friend, Finn
Man,
Thompson. You
listen,
should tell us that one.
The original one. Well, hold on. I feel like I should let you talk first, but I can tell you mine afterwards. I'll tell you mine after.
I'm disappointed, just like you, because why didn't he come tell the story? Because I'm sure I was going to hear the 5th version of this story now. Because this is
why
evolving.
Listen, and you know that's why once we set up that interview, I messaged right away and I said, listen, I want you guys to know that that's what's coming on. And
right, you did.
Just a statement, and you said no, I'm coming on.
A statement. How could you ask for a statement? A statement cannot suffice. You mean these guys have made a whole Hollywood production, and you want me to give you a statement? I can't give you a statement.
I appreciate
I can give
it.
you multiple statements.
Let's
Okay?
do this then. Leader of the Democratic National Alliance, Orinthia S. Kumalafe, joining the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. The DNA party is in full effect, man. I'm telling you, they're out.
Oh, you don't know this DNA. This DNA is ready. Okay, this DNA is ready. It doesn't matter what people are saying out there. This DNA is ready.
Ready to win, ready to go, and focused.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I think our good friend said it best, that no dog barks at a parked car. You ever see a dog standing up and just barking at a car that is standing still? Obviously, we are in the time, we are in the season. These individuals have gone across the media, obviously picked up the phone to call you so they can have a platform on your show to tell a story. And, I really, they appeared on another media house. And what I'm disappointed in, Nahaja, is that nobody is asking the story behind the story. That's one of the first rules in journalism, right? What is the story behind the story? How do we get to this point, right? So the DNA, as we have been doing, working, doing the things that we have to do, getting ourselves ready for the next general election, we've had to make some adjustments in terms of our leadership, right? So we had an adjustment, and nobody asked this question. Nobody asked, why did this happen? What is the meeting? What was the meeting called for? How do we get to this point? We just keep hearing this one side of the story. And now, like I tell you, the orange economy is in full effect in this country. It's just different versions all over the place. We had a situation where our deputy leader was getting ready we had been discussing this matter for several months because the pandemic has changed a lot of people's conditions, their position. People have a different point of view on the elections and moving forward. And it has really impacted a lot of people in multiple ways, diverse ways, as you know. I'm sure it's impacted you. So we've had a situation where we've been moving forward, looking how we can address the situation in the best interest of not only the party, but our deputy leader, who has been with the party, who ran with us in the 2017 general election, but has indicated that he is not going to be able to give the time and the effort on the ground as he did in 2017 to be able to run in this next general election. We appreciate that because we've been saying to persons inside the party, we need everybody on board. We need everybody working because the Bahamian people are looking for persons that are going to be there for them, knocking on the door, canvassing, and so on and so forth. So as we looked within our constitution to ascertain how we were going to address the situation, no political party wants to be dealing with this type of change in an election year. But nevertheless, we came to a compromise, respected the view of our outgoing deputy leader, Mr. Bush Umbrister, who we appreciate his time and the contributions that he's made to the organization over the years. And we looked within our constitution to see how we can best resolve the situation. There is an article in our constitution that speaks to holding a special meeting if a position becomes available. The position of deputy leader was becoming available because the only solution left to resolve the situation was for our then deputy leader to resign. So with that, we called an extraordinary meeting of our Central Congress, which is the body that governs outside of the convention, to make a decision as to how we move forward. We only made the decision to replace and re-elect a new deputy leader, to replace the deputy leader that would be resigning. Okay, fine. So that's where we are now. We move forward. We sit down in that meeting. We address the procedures, the protocols, what should be the way forward, how we are going to go about this. And the body agrees. We rule by consensus. There's no rulership just by me. I don't make no decisions just by myself. I have a council that I'm the head of. I'm just first of among equals. And then there's a Central Congress. So we had the meeting and we decided what the way forward was. We determined the timeline for nominations and we determined the timeline for persons to be able to get themselves current, to be able to participate in the voting process. Now, these individuals, I tell you, nobody told the story, because we had nominations. We had two persons inside the deputy leader race. In fact, there were three nominations. One of the nominees declined. The two of the other nominees accepted. One of those nominees was Stephen Nesbitt, and the second nominee was Omar Smith. Now, Omar Smith was nominated by the outgoing deputy leader, Bush Umbrister, and seconded by Boykin Smith, alternatively, Fane Thompson. That was the way that went, right? At the same time, Boykin Smith also nominated someone for the position of chairman, and I'll tell you how that came up. And he nominated, and there was a nominating for himself for the position of deputy chairman of the party. Now, the discussion that we had at the meeting was not to address deputy chairman or even chairman. But what transpired, because the then chairman, Omar Smith, was nominated and accepted the position of chairman became available. So we also had to hold elections to replace the chairman. So we have two positions now that we are addressing. and those individuals put themselves forward. Now, we had an electoral committee. The electoral committee comprised of the Secretary General, the National Treasurer, and a trustee of the party. Those three members were the members of the electoral committee. Each deputy leader candidate also had an observer that served inside the room on the night of the elections. And the observer for Mr. Stephen Nesbitt was Mr. Lamont Nixon. He's our candidate for Golden Gates. And the observer for Mr. Omar Smith, you know very well, he helped to raise you, Mr. Keno Lockhart.
That's right.
Running for us in the Bain and Grantstown constituency.
Right.
They were all there inside the room during the voting process. They watched everything. That was the whole purpose of them being there. Because if you remember, when we held a convention in February 2019, we are the first political party to allow external observers that were non-affiliated with the DNA to come inside our convention and observe our elections.
Right.
So
and how many people? Just to make sure, how many people were in that meeting on the 6th?
That's a different meeting. I'm leading up to this meeting that you're talking about.
Okay.
So we hold these elections, and there are observers there. It's a very clear and transparent process. Everything is there. We agreed the process as a body. And the results came out that night. It was very close. We put a press statement out on it. The chairman race was very close. Hilary DeVoe was a nominee, as well as Derek Smith, who was a long-standing member of the party. And Fane Thompson was also nominated, right? On the night of the election, he declined it. Well, I'll explain why that happened. But the race was 17-23, 17 in favor of Ms. Hilary DeVoe, 23 in favor of Mr. Derek Smith. Derek Smith won the chairman's race. On the deputy leader side, it was a very close race. It was very tight. 20 for Mr. Omar Smith and 21 for Mr. 21 for Mr. I have to say this part because you won't understand it and appreciate it unless I say it. And 21 for Mr. Stephen Nesbitt. So Mr. Stephen Nesbitt wins the election. He gets up. We applaud everyone that won the election. Omar Smith got up and gave a concessionary speech conceding the fact that he had lost the election. And if there was anything untoward, his observer was there in the room. Well, we found out after we left the room, after we left the meeting, that Mr. Boykin Smith felt that there was something untoward about the elections. So there is a communication that is forwarded by one Mr. Fane Thompson inside our groups outlining these various issues that they supposedly had. So the following day, post the elections, we have all this going on inside our WhatsApp group about whether we should have a meeting, whether we should discuss this before we go to the public, introduce whoever, blah, 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 blah. Just by two persons, you know. There were only two persons disrupting this process. So we call a meeting. I call a meeting for 6 o'clock that evening. This is the night that you're talking about. I call a meeting to address these issues. Because if we don't address the issues, then they say, okay, we're not addressing the issues. Everyone inside the party shows up for the meeting. All the persons who were there, who are eligible to vote, who have no problem with the results of the elections, show up there to vote. These individuals that are claiming wrongdoing, Boykin Smith and Fane Thompson, they now show up. They can't show up. They want a Zoom link for the meeting. But the body had already agreed that this is not going to be via Zoom. If you're making these accusations, you should come and stand in front of the persons that you're making these accusations about so that we can address the situation. So the body says to them, we're not having the meeting by Zoom. We want you to come in person. So they come in person. They reached there. We were there from 6 o'clock. They never arrived until about 20 minutes to 7. So they kept us waiting for that period of time, but the meeting was in session. So when the meeting was in session and they walk inside the room, the meeting is in session, someone is on the floor. Honestly, I don't know what is going on because I saw when Boykin did enter the room, he had a laptop in his hand. I never saw a phone. I never came in contact with a phone. Now I'm being understood to be made that I destroyed the phone. But I saw him clutching a laptop when he walked inside the room. Myself and the deputy leader were chairing the meeting. And we were sitting up front as well as the Secretary General and the newly elected, the national chairman was not there. He was off the island. So he comes inside the room and he did this about in the back of the room. I didn't take anything of it. We're in meeting. The meeting is in session. The next thing I know, there's an uproar because I'm disturbed by something somebody is whispering in my ear. Apparently, he walks up to the front of the room.
Who's this at this point?
Boykin Smith, pardon. Okay. While someone is on the floor talking. Well, I got this afterwards. I didn't realize that is what he did. But when I quickly looked, I realized that was the uproar was all about. So when he said that, he said, when he walked up, people were telling him, well, you shouldn't do that. That's disrespectful. There's somebody on the floor. And Nahaja, that's not the way we run meetings. We run very disciplined, orderly meetings, whether it's virtual or whether it's in person. Mm-hmm. So they did that. Okay. Fian Thompson jumps up and said, he has the right to go where he wants to go. He has the right to go with him. You can't stop him. You can't stop him from speaking. So nobody's stopping him from speaking, as the members start to say in the group. They're saying he should wait in his turn to speak when he needs to speak. Right? So then there starts to be a little chatter. I'm chairing the meeting, so I stand up. And I said, please, let's get this meeting back to order. Let's move on. He jumps up. Your good friend, Fian Thompson. Mm-hmm. Who are you to talk to me? Who are you to tell me that? You can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me. He jumps up and he's launching out me to attack me. So everybody jumps up in the room at that time. He's wondering, what's this guy doing? Why is he coming to launch an attack on the leader? We're only trying to bring order back to the room, right? So he gets up. Like I said, every guy in there jumps up, wondering, well, what's his situation? Now the ladies run over to me and they say to me, madam, you sit right here. You don't go. Because I'm looking at him and I'm like, the being town in me came out then, because then I remembered I went back to 1990 when I was back in school in Willipatan and I used to fight. And I'm like, that Orinthia has been quiet for 30 years now. And here comes this guy trying to bring the brain tongue up out of me. And I said to him, are you talking to me? Because right now, it doesn't matter if I'm the leader. You're disrespecting my person because I don't disrespect anyone. So you're standing up there and they're saying to me, madam, leave this alone. We got this. And he continues on. And there's a scuffle. But Nahaja, there's no assault that took place in there. Nobody hit Mr. Thompson. He's being very dramatic, overly dramatic. Because before anything was able to happen in there, the guys parted him from there, right? So he's had all of this uproar in there. Now, I have security. I do have security. And the security was not even in the room at the time. There were two securities on that night. One was at the door, and the other one was manning the parking lot to watch persons' cars. They sent a message out there and said, this guy is coming to attack Madam Leader. Because he got out of control. Because prior to that, and see, these are the things that he's not going to put out there and what he's not going to say. He had already had conversations with the deputy leader, calling me a dog, calling me a dog. That's what he said.
A dog.
Multiple times. And I am not lying to you. And since, and even post that incident, he was on the line and members of the DNA was able to hear him say, that dog, I'm going to get that dog. This is what he's saying now. He's referring to me. Orinthia Komalafe. I am going to get that dog is what he told him. And I have something waiting for y'all. This is just the beginning. That was his threat then, that he was going to go out to the media to do whatever it was that he wanted to do. Because you know what the issue was, Nahaja? The guy that he wanted to become the deputy leader did not become the deputy leader. That was his biggest problem. And do you know what we also found out since then? You see, these things are not peculiar in political parties, especially if you see an organization that might stand behind you and you're either maintaining power in government or retaining power in government. And these guys were sitting inside the Democratic National Alliance as operatives. I'm not telling you something that I don't know. Inside the Democratic National Alliance, they approach members of other organizations looking to see how they can be able to exploit this particular incident for their advantage. We have evidence, I will say it, Because you see, people, and I would say alleged, because in this era that we're living in today, we allow anybody to come on these shows to say anything, and we don't dispute it. The media in this era allow people, and there's some shows I'm going to go back and review because there's defamation of character that has taken place of individuals' character, including my character, my husband's character, and other members of the organization. I didn't get this far in my life being disgusting or assaulting persons. I mean, the fact that people would believe that I assaulted someone or took someone's phone away from them and damaged someone's phone. The fact that someone would think that. I didn't come this far in my life. I tell people constantly that I had to work hard to get to where I am. I came from, I just mentioned it. I was born in Farm Road and went to school in Bain and Grantstown. 12 years of public school. 12 years of public school, and then went to the College of Bahamas and was able to go off to England to qualify myself in law and business. I came back here and I was in a managerial position in private banking in this country, a managerial position that took me to work in Switzerland. And then I came back here and I was in an executive management position in a public corporation in this country, To get into politics, to become the chairman of the women's branch in the Progressive Liberal Party, which is no easy feat as a young person inside a legacy party. And then to become the deputy leader of the DNA and then the leader of the DNA, nobody gets there off of foolishness. You see, my character and my name is all I have. I've never stood before any court for anything for anyone. Not theft, not assault, not anything. Not just me, not my husband. We don't bother people. The extent of our public life is what we are doing here in politics, fighting for the Bahamian people. My husband is from Nigeria, yes. Yes, he's of African descent. He's not a Bahamian, but he's come here with a Ruth mentality. And he has said, as your people shall be my people. My husband has done nothing but worked in this country and contributed to the development of this country. I run a sporting program on Saturdays and I work with young people. And my husband is there with me every Saturday doing that. No, he doesn't have to fight for me. But if a man stands up and hears another man calling his wife a dog,
that's
any man inside that room, who you expect to hear that and be okay? Even my father is not okay with that. My brothers are not okay with that. My mother is not okay with that. And my mother from Farm Road and my father from Martin Street. So if you want to say I have a fighting spirit in me, yeah, I have a fighting spirit in me because I would stand up for what I believe in. And if God has given me the ability to stand over this party and to lead this party, then I have to be protective of what he has given me. And when these uncircumcised Philistines come up inside this organization to destroy the work that we have done, we don't see those people. We don't see Fane Thompson. Fane Thompson doesn't give $1 toward this organization. I see my bank account going down every month. Me and the members of this organization that care about this organization. This guy showed up at an opportune time, seeking to get power, hungry for greed, and because he didn't go his way, that's why he's embarrassed. You know why he can't come on your show and tell the story? Because he knew I would be on the show. Because how can you tell the story face to face? The story that you have concocted and switched over and over and over again. I don't play games. I have 3 children. If I need to play games, I have 3 children at home. I can play games with them.
Madam Leader, we're going to take a quick break. I love what you're bringing out the Baintown Farm Road. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's talk on the other side of the break. I'm so excited and glad that you joined the show. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Leader, the one and only Arinthia Kumalafe joining us. We'll be back right after this.
In life, there are always challenges. Today, we find ourselves having to be more self-sufficient, socially aware, and technically savvy. At J.S. Johnson, we are committed to our customers by providing cost-effective insurance solutions. No matter what your insurance needs, we will always be here for you. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com. J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers, giving you peace of mind.
When I got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or BTCBahamas.com. Conditions apply.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja, Black Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. If you've just tuned in, you're missing one heck of a show. Go back to our YouTube channel. You can go on our Facebook page and rewatch it. It has been interesting from top to bottom. We have the leader of the Democratic National Alliance, Madam Arinthia Kumalafe, joining us and rebutting the claims of infighting, the allegations and assertions presented on the airwaves by Mr. Fane Thompson and young Mr. Boykin Smith. And I keep saying young, and I am sure he doesn't want me to say young Mr. Boykin Smith. He's a grown man at 26 years old. So, okay, Madam Kumalafe, you were very passionate, and I appreciated that you were saying, listen, this is the situation. And I think that a lot of people who are watching online or responding to my phone, they're appreciating your candor, your energy, your passion in this conversation. Some questions that have come up was that, what I was told initially some 2 weeks ago was that Mr. Thompson was beaten. He alleged that the bodyguards attacked him. Your bodyguards attacked him because he was expressing himself. And then the violence ensued, and and he never mentioned that you attacked him or that you damaged the cell phone. Others did that, Boykin's cell phone. So did any of those things occur?
Nobody assaulted Fane Thompson. From where I could see where I was standing, like I said, when he came at me to launch at me like that and to say what he said, everyone inside the room stand up. So the men rushed to him and the women came over to me to keep me behind the desk where I was. They said to me, Madam Kumalafe, you stay there. Because they did not want it to deteriorate into anything. I saw with my own eyes. I saw him throw a blow, but it hit no one. And the persons got to him fast enough to put him up against the wall to separate the fight, to part the fight. I already mentioned the fact. The security personnel was not inside the room. They went and called the security personnel. And when the security came to me, the security said the same thing to me, Madam, you stay there. But by that point, the women had already pinned me to the corner. They said, you stay there. So I wasn't even able to move from behind the desk where I was. And then they said to him that he should be removed from the room, and they escorted him out of the room because he was not intent on calming down. He was not intent on sitting himself down. I heard him on your show saying that I need to apologize. I need to bow down and apologize. So he's not even apologetic or remorseful about his attitude. Nobody beat him. And if he had gotten beaten, where's the police report? Where's the medical report? Right? There's nobody hit him. And he hit no one from what I saw. I can only say what I saw with my own eyes.
So there were, as far as what you've seen, and okay. So as far as what you saw, there was no violence that ensued. He was just, everybody was separated.
This thing is being branded as a big fight, Nahaja.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Fight. No physical fight took place in there. No big fight. Did people rough up some people to say stay outside? Yes, of course, because you're trying to calm tensions. And you mentioned earlier that there are recordings. And by the way, our policy is when we come inside these meetings, that these phones, because it is very to do where people get information out, is private meetings, right? So all of our strategy that we discuss, what we are going to do, how we're going to move as an organization, the Sergeant at Arms has a policy that these phones should not be at the case. But there are people who had phones, and the phones recorded, and you can hear in the background the person saying, you can actually, somebody let me hear a recording myself saying, and because it all happened so fast, calm down, let's calm our passion. What is this all about? This is not how we conduct ourselves. But as I said, this individual does not come to meetings. It was only because he was angry, because his candidate of choice did not win the position, that he decided to come. And you know what he's on now? His rampage is on. He's on a rampage to destroy the Democratic National Alliance while seeking to destroy my character. Well, the devil is a liar. He's not going to be successful in that, in either of the two. Because what he has done is rallied up the internal base so strongly, where persons are very shocked, even in the case of Boykin. And we took Boykin and we mentored Boykin, right? Boykin had the support not only of the leadership, but he had the support of his fellow candidates. And they were very disappointed in him, extremely disappointed.
What about the issue of the phone with Boykin? It seems that everyone agrees that Boykin's phone was destroyed. Any particular reason for that?
Who agrees that his phone was destroyed? As I said to Boykin, I'm not aware of you having a phone. I'm not aware of that. And I can only speak to what I know. Because as that was going on, whatever they say was transpiring concerning him, I was focused on what was going on with Fane Thompson. So I did not see anything there. But if he had a phone, if he did have a phone, and he sent communication to leadership talking about this phone, leadership has on multiple occasions reached out to Boykin and said, Boykin, come, let's discuss this matter of your phone and all other matters, right? Multiple times calling out to him. This transpired on a Tuesday, call out on Wednesday. In fact, we held a press conference on Wednesday to introduce the new deputy leader. We were waiting there for hours after that press conference on him to come so we can discuss this issue of his phone and other issues that he was talking about. Wednesday called him, Thursday called him, Friday called him, tried to get in contact with him, no response. Saturday, he came to my sporting program and he said, I'm here, I need my phone, an X amount of dollars. I said, I don't have your phone. I said, the chairman, the national chairman, has been trying to reach out to you. Reach out to the national chairman so we can discuss this issue and move the way forward. So he had a guest with him when he came there to my sporting club, because I told him I did not want to see him in front of these little children. So please go and call the national chairman. So the guest that he had with him took the national chairman's number, and apparently they did go and meet with the national chairman. When he got to the national chairman, he asked about his phone again. So he said, well, obviously he didn't have the phone because he was off the island. He just got back. So he said, he started to ask him questions about the phone because he's a former police officer. So he wanted to know how was their phone, because he said he was texting Boykin on the same night when he said that his phone was supposedly missing. So he started to ask questions. Boykin thought it was a waste of time. He walked away from the meeting. Post that, we've tried on multiple occasions to get a conversation with Boykin, and then he showed up on a talk show on Friday evening. And that was the end of the matter. I think because Friday morning, the national chairman reached out to him again to arrange a time to meet. That was the last time that an effort, in my knowledge, was made either from the leader, the deputy, or the national chairman to have a meeting with him concerning the conversation of this phone. So if you want to resolve an issue of your phone, then you must make yourself available so we can discuss it.
Are you concerned? Sorry, and only because of time, if you're just tuning in, Arinthia Kumalafe, DNA leader, here with us. Are you concerned about the way these things are carried on the press and how it paints your leadership style?
Well, I'm concerned about the way that things get out in this particular era of time, right? This whole notion of, just discretion, it doesn't exist anymore, right? When people have their grievances, they go out and they tell, like, you got 15% of the story. You didn't get the full 100% of the story. So people tell their portion of the story, right? So, but I'm more deeply concerned about the politics behind it, Nahaja, because I'm saying to you, there's something more sinister to this. These persons are being paid. There's something more sinister to this, to create this impression. And I'm also saying to the persons that are paying these individuals, because I'll start calling names, that they have to have these individuals to please stand down. And I say this allegedly. I only say it allegedly for legal purposes. Have these persons to stand down, or the DNA will start to reveal names and the evidence of the information that it has, right? Because we have decided to move on in peace with these individuals, but they are intent on going from media house, and only the media house that will give them a platform will, of course, it will be out there. Because these things go on in every political party. Every political party. I can speak about an issue that just transpired in one major party just a couple of weeks ago, right? But those persons show where they are more about the organization above themselves, above their greed, and above their agenda. And that is how you know that these individuals were never really about the DNA and moving this country forward under a DNA banner in unity, the way that we have intended for it to be. So yes, now how it paints my leadership, well, this situation has gone down, right? These individuals have gone out there and spoken. I didn't have to be on your platform. What other leader is going to come on your platform? I don't have to be transparent and accountable and speak to this. I will tell you what I know. I will speak to it and whatever the repercussions are, right? Now, it is in the interest of the Bahamian people. It is in the best interest of the Bahamian people that I come and that I speak to it. But we are not going to let this consume us, because we will get over this, whatever this is. This too shall pass, right? I don't have a problem if people have grievances, but I have a problem. You see, people are entitled, Nahaja, to their own opinions, but they're not entitled to their own facts. Now, my character is being maligned. But there's nothing I can do about that, only than speak my part, and then the rest of it I leave in the hands of the Lord. I can't do anything about it. I understand who I'm dealing with. I understand what I'm dealing with, right? But to answer your question is, if I'm concerned about this, God is a vindicator. That's all I can do, because there's nothing else I can do. At this point, because you were not there, and you know what's so interesting about Bahamian people, when they tell the story like they were there. Because you were not there, it is right now as it stands, my word against their word, or their word against my word, right? And they have decided to put this in the court of public opinion to come to some conclusion as to what is and what is not.
Speaking of court, before I let you go, has there been any legal, sub judice and all of that stuff? Has there been any suits served to you?
Well, I've not been served. So I'm not exactly sure why he told you that the matter was sub judice. I've not been served.
I haven't seen or heard anything either.
The DNA has not been served. Nobody's been served with anything, right? I heard Fain saying there that I needed to come. The people he was talking about, but the people who need to come and apologize. Well, if you're about the spirit of reconciliation, then all of the overtures that were made by our deputy leader, Mr. Stephen Nesbitt, and other persons for him to come to the table to resolve this matter and to resolve this issue, he would have jumped on that, right? But ego and arrogance. You know, I told you the man said, that dog, that Nigerian woman, that African woman, he's talking about me, right? Born of two Bahamian parents. But, you know, it doesn't matter what people call me, you know, it's what you answer to. But he neglected to tell you how he has spoken such derogatory words to me in a very chauvinistic and misogynistic way. You see, when you're trying to do something that is never been done before, Nahaja, you're going to have your challenges. And I say that to your listening audience too. You are going to have your challenges. People talk about, okay, there's a fight in the DNA. Well, war broke out in heaven. Did that diminish God's power? Right?
I like that
Lucifer
one. That's a great point.
Rose himself up and he said, I shall be like the Most High, Lucifer, in the courts of heaven, of the great God Almighty, the sovereign God. Does that make God less? You need to ask those people who you're talking to if they believe in God. Because the likeliness is that you will get a no. But if God himself has to deal with war in heaven, and he has to throw out Lucifer, who became the devil, and the angels who he was able to persuade, you know, because there was only two people, you know. There's only two people that is trying to cause what they call a storm in a teacup. So if God could have to contend with war, little me, I am small in the sight of God. And Jesus said, if they persecuted me, they will persecute you. So yeah, God is not being diminished. I pray to him every day. And he's brought me through everything every day. I pray to him every day. So do I think it diminishes me? No, it doesn't diminish me because it didn't diminish the sovereign Lord when he himself had to deal with the arrogance of Lucifer, who felt that he could be like the Most High God.
I like that one. That's powerful. Even if there was war, even in heaven. So what are we, right? That war wouldn't break out somewhere.
Who are we? Who am I?
I love it. All right. Orinthia Kumalafe, leader of the DNA. I have another guest. I want to talk about COVID-19, but I got to ask you this. Early elections, 30 seconds. Is the DNA ready? I don't like the playing of games because, you know, everybody got a budget. But are you guys ready to go?
Of course, we're ready to go. I'm not going to tell you anything else.
That's true.
Listen, Nahaja, we are like Nehemiah. We have weapons in one hand, and we have our tools in the other hands.
That's right.
We come to deal with this, but while we're dealing with this, we have two candidates on another show talking about the plans of the DNA. Okay? We have learned in dealing because nothing good is going to come easy. You're going to have attacks from left, right, and center. And I thank the people of the DNA. I thank the members of the DNA, the candidates. I thank the supporters of the DNA for their prayers and for their kind words and their sentiments during this time and during this period. Because I personally felt the prayers. Of course, the DNA is ready. The DNA is ready for this battle. The DNA is moving forward. That's what we're hearing on the ground. And that's why it's getting so hot. That's why everybody wants a piece of this. That's why they want to destroy this organization. But I guarantee you, and you will have me on your show after the victory is won. I guarantee you. Right?
DNA, someone just said DNA for the win.
Okay. Green hearts. Green hearts.
DNA for the win. Listen, I'm sorry that we had to use this time to really do this, but I'm happy we did do this because I want us to very soon. Let's talk about the moving forward. Let's talk about what's the strategy, the plan. I think of you guys a lot when we talk about early elections, and smaller parties have a smaller budget, and we can't be playing games, these political games that are being played. So hopefully we get to chat on another topic. But Madam Kumalafe, you did what you represented like a soldier with a fire from Baintown. I loved it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and the Baintown could be around here for a little while, right? Remember that dub song? Who won't come try test me? It could be around for a little while.
All I need next is the bogle, but don't bogle yet.
DNA. That's the DNA slogan. Okay.
Love it. Thank you so
very much, Nahaja. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right. Leader of the Democratic National Alliance, the one and only Madam Orinthia Kumalafe. Listen, I don't know about y'all, but I thought that was a strong presentation by the leader of the Democratic National Alliance. So let's go. We got to switch gears. Because, of course, with all of that's going on, we have a pandemic, and the country is struggling. I've got my good friend, the one and only Dr. Susan Williams Lockhart, giving us a roundup of what is going on, and people saying they loving and respect her position. Strong woman with courage, go girl. So I think that Madam Kumalafe did very well, and I appreciate it, and I'm just encouraged by her presentation just now. I think Fayne Thompson and Boykin, they're going to be challenged with any rebuttal after that. But we got switching gears, Dr. Susan Williams Lockhart. Doc, welcome to the show.
Man, hi Nahaja, how you doing, man? I love the fire, man. I like that. Beantong Bogle, man. I like that, It's so good. I hope, I'm so, and I love it. And I hope that women from every single political persuasion rise up and state their claim. Because women we sit down, we serve the coffee, and we underarm as arm candy. We're so much more than that. And I'm not giving anything away. I don't want nobody to tell me next time they classify me and say, oh, she's a DNA. But as a PLP, man, she switched from the FNM to the next side. No, but women have to rise, and I love that. That's beautiful for our daughters to see. So but let's
talk.
What's going on? Yes, man, listen here to me, right? I am a little sleep deprived behind my eyes right now. We work, my company that my husband and I have, we do mobile concierge health and wellness. And essentially, we are called upon if, let's say, people have family and, they don't, for whatever reason, want to go to the hospital. They'd rather stay at home. This is what we do, Capriata Health and Wellness, named after my beautiful grandmother, Mrs. Agnes Capriata, who was a faith healer, a plant healer, bushwoman in Trinidad. Now, we have been hearing that, we are opening for business. I love it. The tourists are back. I love that too. That is great. But we made a couple of decisions that I would love that we look at again, which was number one, we are not testing vaccinated people, all right? And they're allowed to come in. They're not being asked to test. They're not being asked to quarantine. And this is great from the perspective of helping the tourism product. And, we need those dollars flowing in the economy. I do not believe that lockdowns necessarily worked well. But at the same time, you are seeing certain other countries, for instance, just in the news, I think it was today, they were saying that France is not going to let tourists from Britain come there without quarantining, or Britain and France, but European countries are being very picky with each other. They are not allowing even their fully vaccinated people to enter without a test. And we are seeing cases where the cruise ship industry is now starting back. And we're seeing cases where the people will leave, before they leave to get on the cruise ship, they have their vaccine, they have their negative PCRs or rapid antigen. They're on the sea for a period of time, mingling, relaxing. And before they reach home port, they have to test again. This happened in St. Martin 2 weeks ago, I believe. And in that ship, 4 people showed up as being positive for COVID. They were vaccinated fully. They had their negative test before they left. But after 2 days at seas, one happened is then, not happened then, is that now they are positive. Now, these are vaccinated people. Because what we are hearing, and listen to me, so it means that many of the people who we are letting in, and I'm convinced of this, right? Yeah. They are bringing in variants because they're coming from places where variants are high. People have to understand something. A vaccine is not a Kevlar vest. It's not a bulletproof vest. A vaccine is a tool. It's a workman, right? The vaccine has to build immunity based on what you give it. So 2 of us can have the same vaccine, but if my immune system is poor and yours is high, the vaccine will build a 5-foot wall for me. It will build a 10-foot wall for you. Along comes COVID. Into the woods we go. Well, what will happen? I will get COVID. You will not get the variant strain. You have to remember as well, these vaccines are built based on COVID that was around in 2019, early 2020. That has mutated and the genetics have gone. The vaccine companies themselves, Pfizer itself was noted saying, we need to get a booster because there's some situations where the vaccine does not fully protect you. So people want an answer. People are afraid. They want the vaccine to work. They want one thing that will change the narrative. That is not coming, right? A vaccine is a tool. Number one, it is one of the many strategies, okay? Vaccines are one way of boosting the immune system in the body. We have 9. If God thought we needed 9 ways to boost the immune system, how does man come and figure that vaccine is the answer to everything. Okay? Now, having said that, and I want to deal with this because there are lots of things going on and people are asking, I'll tell, and I will do the big reveal, Nahaja. I will reveal my vaccine status on the show. First time, right? Okay? The big reveal, right? But people are going around telling people things we should take them and vaccine. I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. I fully believe in vaccinations. Vaccines work, okay? But why must we only be subjected to one vaccine? This is the equivalent of, penicillin is a fantastic antibiotic. It changed the narrative discovered by Sir Alexander Fleming on his moldy bread in London one day. He did many things. It's marvelous medical history. Penicillin changed the history of medicine, changed the history of progress for man. People stopped dying from infectious diseases with the discovery of penicillin. But that is like, we have penicillin as the cure for something, and we say, okay, everybody going to take this penicillin. So what happens if you're allergic? Don't matter that you got to take this penicillin because that's what we got. What happens if you can't take the penicillin? Don't matter, we got to take this penicillin, this is what you got. No, that is not the way to do it. And it is not as if these vaccines have not had reactions. I'm not trying to promote vaccine hesitancy. I'm not trying to scare people. But I read and I assume everybody else does. You're seeing cases where they're talking about neurological complications, Guillain-Barré. They're talking about they're not using it in some places. Italy, they're not using the same vaccine for people under the age of 60 because an 18-year-old died from complications. Now, are they being too cautious? Maybe. But we have to understand that there is no therapy that is without complication. Aspirin can kill you. Anything can kill you. So why are we acting as if one thing now is perfect, right? So we need to come off of that. That is my take on it. We need to come off of it and tell people, listen to me. Vaccines work. Read. Let us get a range of vaccines in here so that you can take the one you want. I can take the one I want. We can take the next one we want. So in addition to this, let's look at what is happening on a global perspective. 7 million vaccines, right? 7 million vaccines given out, I believe they said. But 70% of them have gone to 6 countries, right? 70 million vaccines given out. 70% of them have gone to the richest countries in the world because they have the deepest pockets. The rest of the world ain't getting a vaccine right now. We have run into an issue because we decided that, okay, vaccines are going to be our strategy. I don't sit at those tables. I said, fine, that's what you decide you're going to do. But you know that to vaccinate people to health, you need to have 60%, let's say 60, some people say 70 or 80 when there's a highly transmissible variant like the Delta variant. Right? But let's just say 60. Let's settle at 60. So that is 250,000 people you need to vaccinate. So when they said they were getting 60,000 vaccines in the first, and I said, okay, let's wait for it because that's a policy, but that is not going to work. You have to vaccinate you have to provide vaccines for 4 times that amount. So as it stands now, we're out. And that is nobody's fault, not here. And I commend the people on the vaccine committee and the people in the ministry and those people. They went out and they looked and they tried to get what was available for us. Some people got nothing. People in the Caribbean at least had something through COVAX. So let's not, blame the messenger with the message. Let's not do that. But I'm just trying to put a potential narrative down here for people to understand, right? So to me, people are saying, okay, people are dealing as if when you have your vaccine, you're free. It's like get out of jail free card. You can party, you can run up, you could be on the beach with Pookie them, right? You could go in the store. You could bogle on Bay Street, as they say. You could do. I live on the West. What I see these people doing, man, look here. I'm like, well, okay. How you know who have a vaccine and who don't? You ask them to see the car. How do you know that? So my policy has been that once you don't live with me and you're not in my bubble, you stay 6 feet away or I put my mask on when I'm talking to you and I don't go indoors in close proximity with anyone. We have to live. I was on the fish fry by beautiful place Drifters this weekend. We were outside. We put our mask on when the server came. We took our mask down when it was beautiful. We have to live with COVID. It is not going anywhere. But a vaccine does not ensure your safety. This is what we're seeing. Yes.
And we have only a few minutes left to go. Let me ask you this. I think a lot of people aren't understanding or we're not getting a sense of how serious this is. I said today, starting the show, I saw Dr. Sands in full PPE. I've never seen, honestly, I've not seen a physician in that much regalia other than you. Right? And now and for me, that's a sense of how serious this is. Right? Do you believe that the Delta variant is in country? And is this, are you concerned that we are back at,
listen to me. I laugh because I will tell you in the few minutes we have left. I'm sorry if I went off on the vaccine thing, but we are looking, people are afraid and they want a solution. They want a quick answer. That's not, that's one of the answers. But what I will tell you, we are in dire straits. We are in dire straits. There is no room at any inn right now in this country. I'll tell you this weekend, I'm one practitioner, and we had to turn away 3 calls. People, high, low, middle class, are contracting the Delta variant. It's in the community. At the basketball court, they're catching it. When they travel to Miami, they're catching it. When they go to, some people don't know where they get it from. They say, I wear PP every day. Now, I don't know where I got it, but the hospital is full. I talk to my friends because when I have to call from the community, I try to call the emergency rooms and say, okay, and they told me they're sending people home. They have to send people home with oxygen saturations should be 95 and above. They're saying, okay, we just don't have the room. If you're above 91, 92, you got to take a chance and go home. That's Princess Margaret. The other hospitals, they have people in their bays admitted because they do not have beds available. This is where we are out of capacity. And I'm like, something, I don't think there's any excuse for a person in the Bahamas to be sitting down in the porch in a chair, struggling to breathe. That's what happened to a patient of mine, was in the chair on the porch for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's no beds for them to have a trolley. There are no beds in the wards. And I'm not blaming the doctors. The doctors who work there do the best that they can. We have heroes. The heroes are there. We need capacity. So I'm saying, let's go back. Let's get Colonel Isaacs to a field hospital. Get a cruise ship to the field hospital. Put up another 10. But you have to find a way, because when everybody is like that, the disease spreads.
Hold a thought on that, Doc. We got to do this again. And I don't know why I keep trying to put you at the end of the show when you should be at the top of the show. So we're going to fix that this week. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Susan Williams.
Yeah, be safe. Be very safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You're listening to The Hit Back, everyone. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. We're out.